Hello and welcome to Bust or Trust, a kids' mystery podcast. I'm Tiernan.
And I'm Athena. Bust or Trust is the podcast where we unravel the world's greatest mysteries with help from you, our chief detectives.
We present all the best evidence and then ask you to decide, which team are you on?
Are you a myth buster, like me?
Or are you a myth truster, like me? We look into all sorts of strange stories from around the world. No mystery is too big for us. Like, why isn't the word Q just the letter Q? Why are there other letters after it?
That's because all the letters after Q are queuing up to have a go next.
Of course. Anyway, we'll tell you at the end of the show just how to get in touch so you can let us know if you're on Team Buster or the best one, Team Truster.
So, chief detectives, get ready to take notes and start putting together your case while we have a quick word with the grown-ups.
Hi guys! I'm on the lookout for some brave, curious and silly explorers to join me on an adventure. Well, let's put it this way. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to bounce along inside a giant bubble? How about a hike in a tropical jungle? Or what goes on in a top secret superhero lair?
Watch out for flying octopus!
Is this a yes, yes, yes? I'm Connie, Chief Adventurer at Armchair Adventures, a super fun and a little bit bonkers podcast for kids aged 6 to 10. Each episode is a brand new adventure, and you're invited. What makes it super special is that I've jam-packed it full of sing and move-along fun. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts. Where will your next armchair adventure take you?
The case.
Tiernan, was that door always there?
Which one?
The one right there, next to the door to the corridor.
Oh, that's weird. I've never ever noticed it before. Shall we see where it goes to?
What if it's a bit spooky?
I'm sure it'll be just fine. In fact, it makes me think of this week's case of the Winchester Mystery House, the strange mansion that never stopped being built and is said to be very, very haunted. I think we should have a look what's behind that door.
No, because we've got a case to look into.
But I really want to know what's there. It could be anything.
Or absolutely nothing. Take your mind off it and tell our chief detective just what we know about the Winchester Mystery House.
OK, fine. I'll see you later, mysterious door. The Winchester Mystery House is in San Jose, California, USA. And this odd mansion currently has over 160 rooms, 2,000 doors, 10,000 windows, 47 stairways, 47 fireplaces, 13 bathrooms and 6 kitchens, as well as a number of unusual and unique features like secret passageways, hidden rooms and doors that lead to nowhere. It was built in 1884 and then renovated and rebuilt and renovated again lots and lots and lots of times by the owner, Sarah Winchester. At one point during its construction, it had over 500 rooms. And you'd hope an awful lot more bathrooms, or that's some very unhappy guests.
Before building the Mystery House, Sarah married William Winchester in 1862 and became part of the very wealthy Winchester family. They were infamous for creating the Winchester rifle, a weapon that had been used by many of the American soldiers who fought against Native Americans to expand their own territory. In the space of a few years, tragedy hit and a number of Sarah's family died from illness. First, her young daughter, then Sarah's mother, father-in-law, and finally her husband, leaving her with a huge amount of inheritance money.
The Winchester Mystery House started as an 8-bedroom, very normal farmhouse. But between 1886 to 1922, when she died, Sarah insisted workers kept changing and rebuilding it, and no one really knows why. Stories suggest that maybe she was haunted by the ghosts of people killed by the Winchester rifle and had to build rooms for all of them. Another says that the house would only be finished once Sarah Winchester died. Many believe the house is very, very haunted, and the home is now a tourist site with millions of guests a year, lots of whom are certain they have seen or heard a ghost while there.
So this week, it's up to you, chief detectives, to decide. Is the Winchester Mystery House really a spooky, haunted ghost maze? Or Is it just one person's dream house that they could never get quite right?
It's a big mystery, much like just where that strange door goes to. I guess I'll just have to go and take a peek.
Oh, leave the door alone, Tiernan.
You didn't let me finish, Athena. I was going to say, take a peek into piece of evidence number 1.
First piece of evidence.
The first piece of evidence are the stories about why Sarah Winchester built such an unusual house. The most well-told version suggests that she was haunted by the spirits of those who were killed by shots fired from a Winchester rifle, which would have been a lot of ghosts. By the time work on the Winchester Mystery House started in 1886, the Winchester Repeating Arms Company had made 4 rifles, which had been sold around the world and used by soldiers in many, many wars, and also in the USA, sadly on many Native American tribes. When Sarah's husband William Winchester died, she was living in Connecticut. But after seeing a psychic, which is someone who says they can predict the future, Sarah was told that to avoid these spirits, she would have to move out west, buy a home and build it non-stop. There are some theories that say Sarah knew as soon as the building was complete, she too would die, meaning that she wanted to keep working on the house forever. Others suggest that she built the house like a giant maze to confuse the ghosts so they wouldn't find her to haunt her. Apparently, Sarah Winchester slept in a different one of the many rooms every single night and would always take completely different paths around the mansion whenever she could.
That sounds exhausting. Imagine having to think of a new way to get to the fridge every time you wanted a snack.
Yeah, but the house did have 6 kitchens, remember, so at least there's a lot of possible snacks to get. In 1906, a big earthquake hit the area where the Winchester Mystery House is, and it toppled the top 3 floors of the house and damaged the 4 stories below them too. It's said that Sarah Winchester took this as a sign from the spirits that she was too close to completing it, and so she boarded up all the unfinished parts so they couldn't be worked on. And that way, the house could never be completed.
We will never know why Sarah Winchester built a house like the Winchester Mystery House, but I don't think it's because of being worried about ghosts. For a start, there is no evidence that Sarah Winchester said ghosts were the reason. In fact, the only place those stories are found is in a book written in 1967, 43 years after Sarah Winchester died, by a woman called Susie Smith who claimed to be a psychic. Sarah Winchester didn't like publicity, so didn't ever talk to the press. The people who did know her, like the staff at the house, always said she didn't really believe in ghosts and was more interested in giving to charity. She paid her staff much higher than their average wages to make sure they had a good life. They say the reason she spent so long in the house was to make her feel closer to her late husband, who had also been very interested in architecture.
But why build a house that seems more like a maze then? Surely it was to stop old war ghosts from finding her.
No, I don't think so. I think it's probably that Sarah Winchester was very troubled after losing so many members of her family, and also maybe she had a very big dream for a very special building that she wanted to make.
But then where did all the ghosts in the Winchester Mystery House come from? Because as you'll see in the second piece of evidence, there have definitely been some very strange residents there over the years.
Second piece of evidence.
The second piece of evidence is all the sightings of the ghosts in the house, and there are quite a few. Visitors have heard the shuffling of footsteps to and from where Sarah Winchester's room was, and people have seen a see-through ghostly figure with black hair pushing a wheelbarrow.
How is it see-through and has black hair?
That is a good question, Athena, but I reckon it probably looks like tinted glass on a car, so it could be a very cool or very famous ghost. One worker was doing maintenance by himself in the Hall of Fires, which is called that because of its many fireplaces. As he was up a ladder, he felt a tap on his shoulder, and when he turned around, there was no one there. So he carried on with his work. But then he felt a hand on his back, and again, no one was there. So he quickly left and refused to finish the job. And here are some quotes from people who work at the house that were given to the US news channel ABC News. I often hear footsteps going all the way up the main staircase and then stopping at the top, but there's no one walking up.
I was standing in her bedroom once when I suddenly heard noise coming from the cabinets in the dressing room nearby. The cabinets had been closed and they're very difficult to open, especially in a short amount of time. When I got into the room, all 3 cabinet doors were wide open. I checked every place a person could hide or slip out, but there was no one.
Some people say there's a ghost who might be Sarah Winchester herself. They think they've seen her ghostly figure near where her room used to be. Apparently, it can be heard sighing a lot.
It's probably going, oh, why won't all these people leave me alone? A house this big and I still don't get any peace and quiet. But seriously, who was the worker that felt the hand on his back? Why is it impossible to find his name anywhere? And why didn't ABC News give any of the names of the witnesses who've been quoted as seeing or hearing other ghostly events? There is a lot to suggest that sadly, after Sarah Winchester died, the next owners of the house decided to really turn it into a tourist site. So they made a big deal of the stories about ghosts in the house because they knew a lot of people would visit for that reason. It's very possible no one has actually seen or heard these ghosts, but these stories were made up to sell tickets. Or people had heard about the ghosts before they arrived and so were more likely to see or hear things that they thought were unusual.
OK, but there is a video of something moving in the window of the top floor. It was caught by a surveillance camera at night a few years ago. It's like a strange light that goes back and forth and then vanishes.
It looks a lot like a torch. And you know who released the video? That's right, the Winchester Mystery House website. I'm sure it helped get a few more people to buy tickets for a visit.
If it is a trick to get tourists in, it's a very clever one. But not all the visitors to Winchester Mystery House have been tourists or staff working there. The final piece of evidence is from a guest who is very famous indeed.
Third piece of evidence.
In 1924, the famous escape artist Harry Houdini visited the Winchester Mystery House. Houdini was travelling around the USA giving talks about why he thought spiritualism could be dangerous. Spiritualism is when people believe they can communicate with spirits and ghosts. Someone who had once volunteered for one of his shows worked as a tour guide at the house and so invited Houdini to take a look and see if the ghosts were real or just trickery. What did he find there? Well, he never actually told anyone. Houdini looked at all the rooms that were said to be where the most spiritual activity took place, and yet when he left, all he did was send a letter to the owners of the house, and no one knows what it said. So, here's the final clue. There was the great escape artist Houdini, who usually proved things wrong if he thought they were too spooky. You could say he was the ultimate myth buster. But when he visited the Winchester house, he saw something so strange that he never talked about it again.
It would be spooky, but the real story is that Houdini didn't get to do a thorough investigation because he was very busy. He was one of the most famous people in the country at the time. So, it's very possible he wasn't impressed at all, but wasn't able to do a proper job of writing it all down and telling us why.
Oh, I see. So he could escape chains in an underwater box, but he couldn't escape a busy diary. I don't think he was much of an escape artist.
I don't think even the masters like Houdini could escape time.
True, and I can't imagine how long it would take to really look around the Winchester Mystery House. Where'd you even begin to design something like that?
So next, I want you to build the 623rd TV room in this place right here. Then, I'd like the entire 15th floor to be a bouncy castle.
What, the whole floor?
Yes. Well, you wouldn't want any bits that weren't bouncy. What if you bounced and hit your head on them? Obviously.
Oh, I'm not sure how we'd do that.
Here's the money, make it.
Of course. Could I suggest, though?
No, this room I want only to be for people called Alice. Then over there, I'd like this entire area to be in the shape of a moose. And this needs to be a kitchen only for when I want to eat jelly.
Right, got it. I think we can do that, but you probably should...
No, this is my dream house. Floor 7 and 14 are going to have no windows, but I want it painted so it looks like there are windows, just to confuse everyone. And on floor 3, there will be 3 doors that just lead to each other and nowhere else.
Right, that might be tricky. My main worry, though, is...
And I want there to be no second floor.
What? So it just goes first floor, then third floor?
No, it will go first floor, then missing second floor that is somehow just air, then the third floor that will hover above it.
Right, OK, sure. I'll see if our engineers can figure that out. What you seem to be missing, though, is...
Build it now.
Yes, right away. There you go, all exactly as you asked for. Our amazing engineers even worked out how not to have a second floor. I do hope you like it.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's exactly what I've dreamed of. Oh, my dream house. But before I look around,
What?
I really need a wee.
Well, that might be a problem.
What? Why?
Well, in the 798 rooms, 232 hallways, 19 kitchens, 15 cinemas and 12 bouncy castle rooms, you forgot to ask us to put in any toilets.
Oh no! Demolish it and start again.
Oh.
A bouncy castle floor, but no toilet. Sounds like a nightmare.
It had a lot of flaws in its design, but also a lot of flaws in its design.
You know who has no flaws? That's right, our chief detectives. It's now up to you to decide. Is the Winchester Mystery House really haunted or just a very complicated dream house?
Time to recap the evidence.
Evidence recap.
The first piece of evidence is the stories behind why Sarah Winchester built the Mystery House. They say she was haunted by ghosts and a psychic told her the only way to escape them was to move west, make a home and never stop building it.
But the only source of that story is from a book by someone who claims they were a psychic. That book was written many years after Sarah Winchester died. Reports from people who actually knew Sarah said she didn't really believe in ghosts.
The second piece of evidence is all the sightings of ghosts and people who heard strange things. One worker kept feeling a tap on his shoulder and another often heard footsteps when there was no one there.
But there are no names for any of the people who've witnessed these events, and there are a lot of theories that these stories are created to boost tourism and visitors to the house.
The final piece of evidence is that in 1924, Harry Houdini, the famous escape artist and ultimate mythbuster, visited the Winchester Mystery House and didn't tell anyone what he saw. All he did was send a letter to the owners, and no one knows what it said.
But Harry Houdini was very busy, and the official story is that he didn't have time to investigate the house properly, so there's a high chance he thought it best not to do it at all.
So now we're handing it over to you, Chief Detectives.
What do you think? Are you a Winchester Mystery House mythbuster?
Or a Winchester Mystery House myth truster? Get in touch and let us know your thoughts, and most importantly, which side you're on. It doesn't matter which route you take through the evidence, you'll clearly end up at Team Truster.
I think there's no extra rooms here for anything other than Team Buster. Send us your voice notes with an explanation of why you're a myth truster or mythbuster when it comes to whether the Winchester Mystery House is a home to the supernatural or just one person's experiments in architecture.
All you have to do is ask your grown-ups to help you email us your voice notes or thoughts to hello@bustortrust.com.
Tell us your name, age, what you think all the evidence means, and please make sure your grown-ups give us permission to use your voice notes or emails in our next episode.
You can also send us a question on Spotify Q&A, but please get permission from your parents and don't include any personal details so that we can publish them safely. We won't always be able to use all of them.
But we do love to hear them, and here are some thoughts from you lot, our chief detectives, on the last few episodes.
Willow has messaged on our episode about the Big Grey Man and says they are on Team Buster. Hi, I'm drumroll please. Team Buster, but I wish I could make Team Truster win. Thanks, Willow, absolute champion. For your information, I'm Willow and I'm 8. Oh, by the way, a good name for your band, Truster Drums, or Bot It. Oh, I love that, Willow. Great name for my band. Thank you.
That's a great name. Can I do drums, please? Elena has commented on our time travel episode. I'm 7 years old and I'm a truster because I've seen a picture of the man who was wearing modern clothes and sunglasses and he looks like a time traveller. Bye. Well, he does look like a time traveller. I guess it comes down to whether you believe the picture or not, and I just don't believe the picture.
Eric has messaged on our Bay of Jars episode and said that he is both. Please pick me, that dude who said it was him, and why would the governor ban Robert Marks, Team Buster? But Claudius was very good and could also have discovered it, so Team Truster, my mum said I could. Well, first, Eric, thanks for looking at all the evidence. That is the absolute way to think in grey. Brilliant. To be fair, your mum said you could, so obviously that's what's right.
Max commented on our Xenoglossy episode. Max says truster, but liked Athena's brain facts. Facts are very important. We have had a comment from B Reviews 999 on our Apple Podcasts page. These are really good, funny podcasts for the whole family. What a great quote. And they are really good for the whole family. And friends, and pets.
And aliens, and Bigfoot. We've had this review from Keebatron on our Apple Podcast page, and they say, "This awesome. I am always a truster." That's right, Keebatron. Thank you very much for your nice review.
Snow Leopard says they're on Team Buster and Truster. I'm a Buster on most cases, but the third person factor is real.
We have had an email from Valley who says, "Hi, my name is Valley. I am 10 years old and I love Bust or Trust podcasts. I wanted to tell you that I would really like it if you did an episode of Bust or Trust on the Wampus Kitty. See you later. P.S. I live in Athens, Georgia, USA." Wow, Valley, incredibly cool name. I love the name Valley. That is brilliant. And an episode on the Wampus Kitty. I've never heard of that, but I think if it is a kitty and it is mythical, then yes, we absolutely should.
Fantastic. The feedback just gets better and better.
Every single week. It's brilliant. Thank you so much for sending them in. And if you enjoyed the show, please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Amazon Music or wherever you listen to your podcasts for more great episodes. We love to hear what you think, so please do rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps more detectives find Bust or Trust. And of course, we'll read out some of your comments on the show.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time for more Bust or Trust.
Can I go and see what's behind the door now?
If you must.
Hooray! Ooh, a corridor. But where does it go?
It is very, very dark in here. We should probably turn back.
No way, Athena. This is an exciting adventure. I'm sure we'll find something amazing soon. Oh, stairs. Let's go down.
Okay.
And look, a door. Let's open it.
Wait a second. You don't know where it leads.
Oh.
Tiernan, we're just in the alleyway behind Bust or Trust HQ. The only mystery is why, oh why I followed you. Please tell me you brought your keys.
Uh-oh.
Tiernan.